Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. My name is Natalia Moczulska and this is the news. 204 days of war in Ukraine. The president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, traveled to Kyiv today to discuss Ukraine's progress towards membership in the European Union, together with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky and Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal. Meanwhile, the Russians fired missiles at the dam in Kryvyi Rih, which caused local flooding, and it was necessary to evacuate the inhabitants. According to the spokesperson of President Volodymyr Zelensky, last night there was a collision involving a car in which the president of Ukraine was driving. As reported in the press release, Zelensky was not seriously injured. In Kyiv, a passenger car collided with the car of the president of Ukraine, and the vehicles escorting him. The medics accompanying the head of state gave first aid to the driver, and the man was taken by an ambulance. The president was examined by a doctor. No serious injuries were found. Yesterday, the president of Ukraine visited Izium, a town in the Kharkiv region, which was liberated on Saturday. The new authorities keep finding out more about the numerous war crimes committed by the Russians. The Russian army remained in the Kharkiv region for over 5 months. The occupiers turned the schools into looking like trash cans, and the churches after their attacks look like toilets. Our authorities are already collecting evidence of many crimes, tortures, and numerous abductions. This is proof that Russia can bring nothing but genocide to society. Yesterday, Russian missiles Kinzhal and Iskander fell on Kryvyi Rih. The river dam was damaged as a result of the shelling. Due to the uncontrolled capacity of the dam, the level of the surrounding waters rose by more than 2 meters, and about 100 farms were flooded. 8 Russian rocket strikes on Kryvyi Rih today. Rockets were directed at hydraulic structures. This caused water levels of Inhulets River to increase, threatening the city. Russia obviously wants to cause a crisis situation. Today, the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, visited Kyiv, where she met Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal. The talks concerned, inter alia, Ukraine's efforts to join the European Union. The United Nations, on the other hand, is calling for the opening of the Russian pipeline that allows the transport of ammonia from Russia to the Ukrainian port on the Black Sea, because it is a key component of fertilizers, the shortages of which threaten a food crisis.
We are risking to have a fertilizer market crunch. We risk to have, in 2022, real lack of food. So, to remove the obstacles that still exist in relation to the export of Russian fertilizers is absolutely essential.
Meanwhile, the Ukrainian website Romatske reported that Russian officials had asked Ukraine to resume peace negotiations, but Kyiv rejected it. President Volodymyr Zelensky has repeatedly said that any talks will be possible only after the Russian army has left Ukraine. We all understand that fertilizers must be delivered by the end of the year to achieve the next season's harvest. It is up to Kyiv to resume ammonia exports. We cannot accept any agreement that would be contrary to the interests of Ukraine's national security. The success of the Ukrainian counteroffensive would not have been possible without the help of the West. Kyiv received the most weapons from Great Britain and the USA. Poland donated over 200 Soviet-made tanks to Ukraine. Meanwhile, a lot of controversy is still caused by the help of the German government, which, despite pressure from the Ukrainian authorities, decided not to deliver tanks. Despite this, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz claims that the help so far has been sufficient. The weapons supplied to Ukraine by Germany are decisive for the development of the situation in eastern Ukraine and contributed to the fact that Ukraine was also able to defend its own country. So far, we have focused on the supply of artillery and anti-aircraft weapons, and we are planning further deliveries. Today, the European Parliament approved a further €5 billion as a loan to Ukraine. These funds will help maintain schools, hospitals, and other state institutions during the war with Russia. The first meeting between People's Republic of China President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin since the start of the war in Ukraine took place during the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. Putin is also expected to hold talks with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The summit will last until Friday. Earlier today, Chinese President Xi Jinping told his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin that China was willing to work with Russia to instill stability and positive energy into a world in turmoil. At their first face-to-face meeting since Russia's war in Ukraine began, Xi Jinping said he was very happy to meet his old friend Putin again, after Putin said attempts by the United States to create a unipolar world would fail. China and Russia have maintained effective strategic communication in the face of changes in the world, times, and history. China is willing to work with Russia to demonstrate the responsibility of a major country, play a leading role, and inject stability into a turbulent world. I am also very willing to use this meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to exchange views on bilateral relations and international and regional issues of common concern. During the meeting with the President of the People's Republic of China, Russian President Vladimir Putin said he understood that Xi Jinping had questions and concerns about the situation in Ukraine, but praised China's leader for what he said was a balanced position on the conflict. We highly value the balanced position of our Chinese friends when it comes to the Ukraine crisis. We understand your questions and concerns about this. During today's meeting, we will of course explain our position. For our part, we stand firm on the One China principle. We condemn provocations of the U.S. and its satellites in the Taiwan Strait. Xi Jinping, whose Communist Party is due next month to bestow a historic third leadership term and thus cement his place as the country's most powerful leader since Mao Zedong, did not mention Ukraine in his public remarks. A Chinese readout of the meeting also did not mention Ukraine. It said China is willing to give strong support to Russia for matters related to its core interests, state broadcaster CCTV reported. China has refrained from condemning Russia's operation against Ukraine or calling it an invasion in line with the Kremlin, which casts the war as a special military operation. President Xi Jinping left China for the first time since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. The last time Xi and Putin met in person was just weeks before Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th. At the time, both leaders declared a no-limits partnership and inked a promise to collaborate more against the West. Chinese and Russian leaders are also expected to participate in trilateral talks with Mongolian President Ukhnagin Khurelsuchitj. Uzbek authorities reported that Putin will also meet the leaders of Iran, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan, as well as Azerbaijan, India, and Turkey in Samarkand. Earlier today, Prince William and his wife, Princess Kate, greeted well-wishers after viewing floral tributes outside the royal Sandringham estate in eastern England. The new Prince of Wales stopped to chat with many people in the crowd, including 10-year-old siblings, Poppy and Casper Tucknall.
I handshaked William, but I said hello, but he said hello back. And he walked off and he came to my brother and he just... I think them two are new best friends really, because they just bonded so much because they talked for a long time.
We talked about how old I was, what school I go to, and where I live. And we were talking about football.
We come to lay some flowers. I'd actually made some flowers, a bouquet of flowers in a vintage handbag for her in memory. And we were quite surprised that William and Kate was actually here today. We didn't actually know.
We had no idea.
A historical moment. It is for all of us. Even for the children, it's absolutely amazing. My youngest, she won't know about the Queen so much, but now she'll learn about the King more. She'll have that in her life, whereas we obviously have only ever known the Queen, So for everybody to come together, it's absolutely amazing. It's so many people.
The royal solemnly viewed the carpet of flowers, notes and balloons near the gates of the private home of the late Queen Elizabeth II in Sandringham Estate, located in Norfolk. Sandringham has been the private home of 4 generations of British monarchs since 1862. Queen Elizabeth's body was brought to London on Tuesday from Edinburgh. Prince William told a mourner that the walk alongside Queen Elizabeth's coffin during her procession to Westminster Hall brought back memories. The body of the late Queen Elizabeth II is now lying in state in London's ancient Westminster Hall, where tens of thousands are waiting patiently in line to pay their final respects to Britain's longest reigning monarch. Presidents, prime ministers, and royalty from around the world will gather on Monday, September 19th, for Queen Elizabeth's funeral. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please stay tuned for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and some of our other programs. But for me, it's have a wonderful night.